Fair warning, there are spoilers ahead, and if you don't want this game spoiled, then pause now while you still can. And come back later once you finish the game. Ori and the Will of the Wisps totally revised the way Ori engages with enemies. The new game brought a totally revamped combat system and added a ton of new abilities to help ward off nasty foes. In this video series, I'll be shining a spotlight on individual abilities and skills that I think deserve attention, as well as what makes them deserving of this praise. Moreover, I'll be detailing if and how they are used in speedrunning, and in what ways the player can abuse these abilities to achieve faster times. So, without further ado, welcome to Skill Spotlight. Sentry is an optional ability acquired from Ofer, which costs 1 energy to use and shoots out light, damaging enemies in a nearby vicinity before exploding after a short period of time. Alright everyone, pack it up. Video over, right? Well, not quite. Let's dive into this, shall we? Sentry is an obvious choice from my point of view as a speedrunner. On its own, Sentry can be useful for gaining small amounts of height to reach areas that otherwise wouldn't be reachable. An example of this is seen in the bow room during the any percent NMG category, where Sentry is used to cross a gap that is too large to make with a normal jump. You can use Sentry to break walls from the wrong side, however it's inconsistent, and I wouldn't recommend using it in a run. It's also possible to perform something called a Sentry swap. This can be performed by using Sentry, opening the weapon wheel shortly after using Sentry, and swapping to a different ability. This gives you a small float. Theoretically, you could float as high as the amount of energy you have to use Sentries will let you. This is only possible on the most up-to-date patch, patch 1.3. Obviously, Sentry is very useful for damaging enemies in many ways. Sentry is used heavily in the final Shriek fight of the any percent no out of bounds category, which allows the player to skip an entire portion of the fight by damaging Shriek along the path towards the final phase. This is a swag-tastic way to end your run while saving a ton of time. Something not commonly known to the casual player is that Sentry can be used to light candles throughout Nguyen. This can be used heavily in Bowers Reach in order to skip sections that require light bursts to ignite these candles. Sentry can also be used to melt ice in Bowers Reach, and is used as such in the main quest order speedrun to skip getting the light burst ability altogether. Sentry, however, cannot be used to ignite the frozen totems found throughout Bowers Reach. Some other niche uses of Sentry on its own are that it can be used to redirect projectiles as it explodes, which can be used if the player is trying to avoid using certain abilities such as Bash. Its explosion can also be used to break shields, which can be useful when dealing with those pesky Gorleks. When combined with other abilities, Sentry takes on a whole new level of awesome. When using Sentry with Sword, you can perform something called a Sentry Jump. Sentry jumps are a game changer for speedrunners as they allow Ori to achieve new heights that are nowhere near possible without using Sentry jumps. There are 2 flavors of Sentry jumps, the grounded Sentry jump and an aerial Sentry jump. Each type has a certain frame timing that works best. Grounded Sentry jumps are much easier to pull off than aerial Sentry jumps, as in order to perform these, all the player must do is press Sword and Sentry on the same frame along with an up input, and Ori will launch sky high into the air. Aerial Sentry jumps are a bit more challenging, although with some practice they are very reproducible and can be used reliably in runs to achieve massive height. Sentry jumps can also be performed with the hammer ability, although the timing is a bit more challenging when compared to Sentry jumps done with Sword. Players can combine the use of bow and Sentry to perform a bow lift, which allows the player to gain height beyond what is normally achievable, and is currently used in the any percent NMG category to allow runners to escape from the dash tree area without taking the long way around. To perform a bow lift, the player must use bow while airborne, let the bow animation finish, and then use Sentry followed by bow 10 to 11 frames later. This is quite challenging and takes a fair amount of practice to become consistent at. Sentry really is the gift that keeps on giving in this game, and one of the ways that it really gives back is with a Sentry dash. This piece of tech allows players to truly reach new heights, given they have certain abilities on hand. Sentry dashes are performed by using Sword followed by Sentry in quick succession to cancel Sentry's animation, followed by a dash just prior to Sentry spawning. You could say the results are pretty fly. No? Anyone? Sentry is an amazing ability that has so much potential and easily lands in my top 5 favorite abilities. If you've learned something from this video and enjoyed it, give it a like and let me know in the comments what ability you want to see in the next spotlight. Cheers, and I'll see you in the Discord.